Alrighty, this one's gonna be called Bar Hopping at Age 7. So, if you like it, drop a follow, drop a like, comment your stories of when you were a kid and maybe did stuff like this. Alright, so I'm gonna start this off. I wasn't like actually going into the bars and drinking and stuff, of course, I was 7, alright? But I would go and sit outside the bars because I used to live in this little town and there was only like 100 people in it, right? And they were all drunkards. And they would all just come and they would go to the bar and they would pretty much just drink all day. And they were all great people. All great people. Nobody like there ever hurt anybody. Like there was an occasional fight at the bar and stuff, but nobody ever really had like malicious intents like going to the bar and stuff. But the way I did it was I would always go, my house was right down the street from the bar. I would just walk over from the bar because it's pretty safe. There's only 100 people, like, I don't know, 10 cars drive down that street every day. And, my parents always pounded it into me to, like, look both ways before I crossed and stuff. But anyway, I would go to the bar, I would sit outside. There would be, I don't know, 6 to 8 people sitting outside with me. The rest of them were inside the bar. And I would just sit out there. I would just have a great time. I never, like, tried to drink. I was never bad. I never tried to annoy anybody or do any bad stuff. I would sit outside the bar. I would listen to people tell stories. And there's a guy that would sit outside with his guitar and he would play his guitar. And he was super duper good. And I was like 7. And I wanted to be like a musician like so bad at that time. So it was so fun to just like go there and hear him play the guitar. I loved it. And although like it wasn't like 20-year-olds and stuff at the bar, it was older people, right? 40s, 50s, that kind of age. So they would always like tell jokes and stories and stuff, and it was like old people jokes and stuff. But I was a little kid and they were all super drunk, so they would all laugh, and I was a little kid and thought it was hilarious, and I would laugh. It probably wouldn't be funny to me now, but like, yeah. And it ended up this one day, of course, I was 7 years old, probably wasn't allowed to be like out there or anything. I never went into the bar. I guess I wasn't technically breaking any rules. But one day, the lady that owns the bar, well, she didn't own it, she was like a manager or something. So one day, the manager comes out like 60 years old, super duper mean. And she comes out, she says, "What are you doing out here?" And I'm like, "I'm just hanging out, of course. I'm a little kid." And like I said, never tried to drink, never did anything bad, never broke any rules, never went into the bar, never did any of that. But she comes out, she tells me that I need to leave, and I'm like super confused. So I just like go home for the day, I guess. And then I started figuring out, alright, so here's the bar. There's another section over here, right? There were like stools right here in front of the bar, and they were like 2 and they would face each other, right? And everybody would sit there and they would drink their beer and they would talk. But on this side, there are people that would come over here, and there was a general store right here, alright? Like a little tiny grocery store. And people would like go to the grocery store and get stuff, and they would hit the bar and get stuff, and they would like be sitting right here. And just about as many people were sitting on those benches as the benches in front of the bar. So I'd go over here and I would talk. And I met some really good people over there. I met a lot of like older guys that I still knew today that ended up like being friends with my parents and stuff. I was doing this when we had only lived in this town for a year or two, and we lived there a total of 7.5 years. Yeah, it was a great little town. But yeah, I started going over there, and I would talk to everybody. Never did anything bad, And yeah, I would sit over there and I would talk and I would listen to other people's stories, and I would find people's dogs and I'd bring them back to them, because everybody in this town was like super safe. I could just like walk up to their houses and knock and like give them their dogs back and stuff. And that old lady, she was such a nuisance. Me and one of my little friends, the only other kid that was my age in that town. That's how small that town was. There was only one other kid in my grade in that entire town. We would go there and we would like erase the stuff on the whiteboard. That's like the only bad stuff I did. We would erase like the specials and stuff on the whiteboard, and we would it was like an old-timey bar. There were like these logs that like held up the balcony above the benches, and like on Halloween and stuff we would go climb those, and we would go all the way up them. And whenever we did that stuff, that old lady got so mad. It was so hilarious. It was so fun. Yeah, good times. Like I said, drop a follow, drop a like, comment your stories, comment if you ever went bar hopping at a young age, comment if your parents owned a bar or something and then you got to go to the bar at a young age, all that. See you guys in the next one.